This is an overview video as a guide to the Battle of Pozieres, fought by the Australians between the 23rd of July 1916 to the 3rd of September, involving three Australian divisions, the 1st, 2nd and 4th Divisions. In July 1916, the closest support town during the battle was Albert, hidden below the Pozieres ridge. It was 8 kilometres distance in a southwest direction. After climbing over Tara Hill, the D929 road descends into the start of Mash Valley, where the village of Brazel is located. The red line shows the position of the German front line. We are now on the D929 at the start of La Brazel village. The British front line trench, represented by the blue line, and the German trench, represented by the red line, were very close together here. When the British attacked on the start of the Somme offensive, 1st July 1916, thousands were annihilated in no man's land. It would take the British 3 days to take the village of La Brazel. One of the few successes on the day was the Lochnaga mine explosion just out of the village. The crater is preserved as a memorial to this day. Another remnant of the 1916 battlefield in this area is the Île La Brazel, known to the British as the Glory Hole. The site has a tunnel and trench remnants. The D929 road is so straight as it was built on an old Roman road. It was an important road in World War I and World War II. Along the way is the Pozieres British Cemetery and Memorial. There are 456 named Australians buried here. Most were killed during the Battle of Pozieres, or died while being transported to medical hospitals along the Albert-Papom Road, now known as D929. This is both a cemetery and memorial, with the walls around the outside listing names of 14,000 missing. Interestingly, none of the Australian Pozieres missing are named here. They are all named on the walls of the Australian Memorial at Villers-Bretonneux. Two well-known men are buried in this cemetery. Sergeant Claude Castleton, awarded the VC at Pozieres, and Duncan Chapman, first Australian ashore at Gallipoli in 1915. The beautiful flowering gardens are a spectacular achievement at this cemetery. Sadly, often one sees 18-year-olds being killed. This is the grave of Fred King. He was wounded up the road at Warlencourt. His parents had the following epitaph etched on the gravestone: "Though so young, he did his best." A witness to his death said, "He was hit in the stomach. We were carried out together, and he died the next day in a field ambulance at Pozieres. He was not conscious after he was hit, but just groaned from time to time." The random spacing between the gravestones generally indicate that the men were originally buried here during the war. Closeness of the stones is a sign that the men died close to each other on the battlefield and all were buried together. This is true for these two men, Rafferty and Yates of the 8th Battalion. An interesting story from the Red Cross reports is that Peter Rafferty was wounded on the very first night, the 23rd of July 1916. He was taken down into a captured German dugout with other wounded, but a shell collapsed and buried the dugout and all in it. In 1925, both bodies were recovered from the battlefield and buried here. Obviously, Leslie Yates was one of the other wounded in the dugout. His parents had the following epitaph etched onto the gravestone: "Dear son, your memory lives with us, at home, so loved and so missed." We are now back out on the D929 road. I just want to show you some features of the Australian battle at Pozieres. The arrow points towards the chalk pit and Dead Man's Road. The tree line follows Dead Man's Road up to Pozieres. Okay, we have just sent the drone over to give you a better view at the battleground on the 23rd of July. The drone is at the arrow above the chalk pit, and Dead Man's Road is going along up towards Pozieres village. You can see my position in the front of the cemetery and D929 in the top left hand corner. The 2nd, 4th and 8th Battalions attacked on the right hand side of Dead Man's Road, the arrow indicates. Due to the exposure, no one attacked along D929 except one artillery gun. We have just rotated the drone slightly to show the field where the rest of the 1st Division advanced. We will show where the battalions fought in the next video. Suffice to say now that the 23rd of July attack on the Pozières village was very successful, with most of the village being captured. Okay, we're back at the road, the D929. Okay, the camera is facing Pozieres and we will turn the camera towards Elburz. Mash Valley is on the left of the road, behind the cemetery, and Sausage Valley starts near where the tree line is on the left. Okay, let's get into the car and drive the rest of the way through the Pozieres battlefield and beyond. Okay, we didn't go too far. But remember I said that only one artillery gun attacked directly along the D929. It was an audacious attack commanded by Lieutenant Sam Thornhill, 6th Battery, Australian Field Artillery. Under the cover of the attack that was coming from the right, his team pushed one 18-pounder up the D929 to around this position and fired 150 rounds directly into Pozieres fortifications. Thornhill was awarded the Military Cross for his gallantry on the battlefield. They completed their daring attack without any casualty. The Australian attack in the early morning of the 23rd of July come from the right to the left across the road. The road to Thiepville and Mouquet Farm is coming up. The primary objective was to capture the high ground of Pozieres Ridge and then Mouquet Farm, which would threaten the German stronghold of Thiepville from behind. As you probably know, the whole of the village was levelled during this battle. On the 23rd of July 1916, there were still some wrecked buildings standing. For example, the church had one window still intact. So all the buildings that you see here today have been made post-war. The general layout of the village has not changed since the war. We are now leaving the 2nd and 4th Battalion sector on the initial advance on the 23rd of July and entering the 1st and 3rd Battalion's zone of attack. Of the 5 Australian Victoria Crosses awarded at Pozieres, 3 were won during the taking of the village on the 23rd and 24th of July 1916 by the 1st Division. We are now in the 11th and 12th Battalion sector. On the 23rd of July they advanced to the right side of the road and camped along the tramway trench. This part of the village was to be taken by the 9th and 10th Battalions, but this could not be achieved due to sustained counterattack by the Germans from OG-1 and OG-2. Notice we continue to climb towards the highest point on the Pozieres ridge, the windmill. So from where we first started to drive to here at the windmill and the ground, say 1 kilometre either side of the village, Australian casualties were 23,000 with 6,800 men dead. We have skipped 3 kilometres on the road journey and we are now going through Sars. The ruined village of Sars was captured by the British forces in October 1916. Australian units were active in this area during the winter. By late February 1917, Australian troops were in the area, and on the 24th of February 1917, the 2nd Australian Division occupied the Warlencourt, following a German withdrawal. The road remained a major transportation route for the many battles in 1917 and 1918. This video was only meant to be an overview of the Battle of Pozieres. We will be doing a couple of videos on the Battle of Pozieres to show where the battalions fought. Booksonwar.com, the sponsor of this video, stock most of the available Australian battalion histories. Two kilometres to the right of the road is the site of the Battle of Flers on the 5th of November 1916. Many of the 477 Australians buried in Warlencourt Cemetery were killed in this battle.